Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Goosebumps Season 1 of the Disney Plus new rebooted series. So, I forgot this came out today. And so as I got home, I was about to watch a DVD. But then, I turned on my TV and it's all like, stream now, the new Goosebumps series. I'm like, no, it's out. I'm like, crap, dude, I had so much other stuff to do. So they released the first 5 episodes. And so there's 5 more, but they're gonna play weekly and stuff. Personally, I would have preferred for the entire series just to drop all on one day. And I'm glad they gave more than one episode because personally, I do not like the first episode, but the rest are fine. Yes, I said the rest are fine. So let me explain something. If you've ever watched my channel, if you ever hear me talk about Goosebumps, then you know I love Goosebumps. My generation grew up with it when I was in middle school when the books came out. And then a couple of years later, the television show came out. And I have been hooked on Goosebumps ever since. I am a Goosebumper for life. If I could eat Goosebumps morning, afternoon, and night, I would. I Goosebumps so freaking hard. Like, I love it. I still watch it to this day. When I become an old crusty man, I'm still gonna watch the 90s series. That is how much I love Goosebumps. That is how much I enjoy R.L. Stine's work and when it gets adapted into the small screen. However, not all his adaptations are great. The Nightmare Room sucked. Eye Candy sucked. The Haunting Hour was good for the first 2 seasons. After that, it sucked. And so, I even love, Fear Street that's on Netflix. Now, about this rebooted series, first things first, it ain't perfect. Let's just put that out there right here, right now. It ain't perfect, but it's not terrible. If I had to describe this would be a YA novel, teen drama meets Goosebumps meets R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. If you ever heard my reviews on The Haunting Hour, then you know The Haunting Hour, the first season I thought was better than Goosebumps until halfway into the second, and then it started to suck. Why? Because they gave us moral lessons at the end of each episode. The episode would start off great, but then it would go flat. Then they hit you with a moral lesson. I did not want that. The Haunting Hour was darker than Goosebumps. The Haunting Hour had a muted color palette. The Haunting Hour did not have all that creepy music that, Goosebumps and stuff had. Goosebumps in the 90s, the Fox Kids series, had color. It had cheesy, corny dialogue, but it had very cool music and an awesome intro. The Haunting Hour had a cool intro as well. And so when you watch this series, don't expect what you saw in the 90s. It's not going to be like that. When you watch this series, it will be an anthology series, yes, but it's going to have an overarching story arc that's going to take the entire season to get through. Don't expect the wild, kooky, crazy twist of the old classic R.L. Stine stuff. The twist here is more updated, modern, horror movie slasher type twist. You think you know who the bad guys are, but then you find out the other people kind of like the bad guy type of thing. It's a twist like that. It's very modern. It ain't the old stuff that you're used to. The characters are very teen drama. Like every modern thing, every slasher horror thing that gets adapted to the small screen on television, it takes the teen vibe. Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, all has that teen drama vibe. So it's very YA novel-ish and everything. It's different. Let's just put it like that. It doesn't have that same flow as the old school Goosebumps and everything. because it's very much a teen drama with all this dramatic crap going on in their lives. Personally, I say take that out. I don't need that, but it's fine. It does help build for character development, but it's unneeded. Like, it's not necessary. Now, as for the Goosebumps stuff in this series, is it Goosebumps? Not really. Basically, like I said before, it's a teen drama that just happens to have Goosebump references and kind of like Easter eggs that make certain plots go forward in some episodes. And so it's mostly just a dark fantasy suspense drama with Goosebumps references and stuff. And I was really curious to know what this series is going to be about. At first, I wasn't going to binge the first 5 episodes. But when I read the titles, I'm like, hold up, did Disney Plus lie to us? They said it was supposed to be more similar to the movie. The Goosebumps movie that came out, where it's like there's an R.L. Stein character. He has a bunch of Goosebump books. He opens them up, and the monsters come out, and they have to put them back in. I assumed it was going to be more like that. But then I read the titles. Say Cheese and Die, Cuckoo Clock of Doom, The Haunted Mask, Go Eat Worms. I'm like, hold up. Those are Goosebump books and titles from the book series and the television show from the 90s. I'm like, hold up. So is it going to be anthology? Well, not really. It's gonna have a bunch of teen drama crap for the first 20 minutes. Then about the last 20 minutes, then it's gonna get into the actual Goosebump stuff. But it's going to flip the script. It's gonna retell these stories. Some of them will have references that you can follow along, like, okay, I remember this from the book, I remember that from the show. And others are gonna completely retell it and mash a couple of books together. It's not what I want, but I can roll with it, Like, I can roll with it, but I'm not too happy with it because I would prefer the entirety of the episode to revolve around whatever the monster of the episode is going to be about. Now, one major difference is a lot of the villains from the books are not here. The objects that make all the monstrous stuff happens are here, but certain antagonists don't appear. Say Cheese and Die, the camera is here. But Spider, the person who created it, is not. So they don't have to defeat him. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of a watered down version of that. Now, R.L. Stein himself, about 20 years later, about 10, 20 years later, after creating Goosebumps, he decided, hey, I'm going to retell all these stories in a more modern time from back a couple of years back. People didn't necessarily like that, like The Haunted Mask. In that version of the books, I forget the name of the titles. I forget the name of them are. But basically, Carly Beth is more of an antagonist than she is a good girl who is getting picked on. And so it was completely different, and fans just did not like that. Here, it takes a similar vibe and everything. And so there is a huge mystery. And yes, Slappy is gonna appear. Like, there's even like a title with him in the later episodes. But not only that, but a certain person is looking for him and everything. And it's quite interesting. Like, there's a mystery. Not only that, the mystery, okay, if you ever watch Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, the one that's on HBO Max, then you know that it's something the parents did 30 years ago that was so bad that it now reflects on their kids, and somebody's looking for revenge on the kids, not necessarily the parents. I hate when they do that. That's so stupid in my opinion. Why hurt the innocent kids? But hey, whatever. Now, as for the acting, the adult cast is fine. The younger cast, it's mixed. Some can act better than others. Some do a pretty good job. One actor in one episode only, just one episode only, was so dreadful. I was so glad that his acting improved after that first episode because I couldn't take it no more. I don't mean to be mean, but his acting was just all over the place in the first episode. But he gets much better after that. Trust me, he gets much better after that. And thank God and everything. As for the music, I hate the music. It does not have that cool, creepy Goosebumps vibe from the 90s show. It doesn't even have a Hauntings Hour vibe to it. It just has music, like copywritten music, just playing all throughout the episode. There is no intro. It's just a title card sequence where it's like the word goosebumps and black instead of green or orange are like painted on screen. It's not desirable. They need an intro. They really need an intro. But this is the modern times where they don't do intros no more. So that totally sucks. Now we don't get to see what Slappy looks like yet, but we get to see his eyeball. Now there is a picture of Slappy on like the main poster of it. He looks a little weird. And it's just a composite. Like I guess it's like a drawn picture, sketch art, whatever. I'm hoping the real thing looks good. Slappy normally looks good. In the old television series, he looked good. In the movies, he was pretty cool looking, looked similar to how he was in like the books. And so when it comes to this show, basically, it's not like the movies. You don't open a book and a monster comes out. Basically, the world they live in is technically the Goosebumps world, with all the monsters just coinciding in that universe, but I guess people don't ever get to see the monsters. How exactly they get to come and be, who knows? We really don't know yet. We'll probably find out later on in the series. At least they better explain, because if they don't, that's going to be kind of weird. And so, like, I'm quickly going to get through some character bios, and then I'm going to go through each episode and what they're about, and, you know, stuff like that, and how they're different from that of the older television series. So, let's start off with Justin Long, who plays Nathan Bratt. He is the new English teacher at school, and he moves into this new house. And so, like, he gets possessed by, I think his name is Howard, the ghost. And so when he's possessed, at first he's falling down there where he can't use his arms. But then the ghost takes fully control. And when he does take control, you think he's gonna be this evil demonic type ghost. That's the way he always looks, but he acts like a kid, like a teenager. Listen to music, dancing. It's odd. Like, it's really odd. Like, I would like him if he would act a little bit more evil and not like creepy and act like juvenile and stuff. Like, it's just weird. I guess they wanted to go for that 90s cheesy vibe, and plus this is Disney Plus. Ironically, they do cuss in this show. Just not as bad, like no F-bombs, no S-bombs, nothing like that. Zach Morris. Yes, that's his name. Not the dude from Saved by the Bell. He plays Isaiah. And Isaiah is like a football player, and he's dating this one girl whose name I can't remember. She's just a recurring character. And like he's best friends with James, and he's also best friends with that Margot. And so like he's pretty much like a star football player. He's dumb in his classes. His acting was all over the place in the first episode. It was too much and needed to calm it down. But thankfully, like I said, in every episode after that, he got much, much better and stuff like that. The dad, Ben, I forget the actor's name, but he was in Buffy season 4 as one of the military dudes. He was also in Heroes in season 1 until they got rid of his character because Ali Latner didn't want to have him on the show no more because she's all like, oh, we don't have chemistry and blah, 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 and stuff like that, which he called her out on later on. And that is Isaiah's father. He is a contractor, and basically he has a secret. All the parents do. Isa Bonares, she plays Margot. She's really smart. very headstrong, independent, a little too self-righteous at times. She's played by that one. Oh, she was in Star Trek Picard as the android girl. She wasn't in season 3 for some bizarre reason, so I really missed her in season 3. So thank God I get to see her here. And so basically, her parents were separated, but the dad cheats on the mom with one of the friends of, like, this guy she now likes. She's been friends with that of Isaiah since they was little, and they both crush on each other, but he's dating somebody else. She starts to have eyes for Lucas. I think that's his name. And that makes, Isaiah a little pissy. Colin is like, the father of what's her name? Margot. And he's sleeping with Nora, which is Lucas' mom. And his wife, Sarah, she used to be on Andromeda. And she was also one of the moms in the Chucky first season and stuff. Miles McKenna, he plays James. James is openly gay. And he is best friends with that Isaiah. Their bromance is like extremely strong. So strong, I thought they was dating at first, but they're not. And so he likes a dude named Sam. He's a bit sarcastic and everything, and really nice. And so, like, his acting's pretty cool, especially for an internet blogger. He's like an internet personality. And normally those people acting isn't all that great, but his is pretty cool. Now, the character is gay, but in actuality, in real life, the actor is a trans male actor and stuff. And at first, I couldn't really tell. I thought he was somebody else at first, like a different actor that I've seen before in the past. In fact, even Zach Morris looks like an actor that I thought I saw back in the day from Urban Legend, the first movie. I'm like, no, that can't be him because he'll be way too old and stuff. But they have a similar look and everything. And so, what is it? Yeah, so I'll get into the episodes later. Eliza is that of James' mother, and she is an alcoholic who doesn't pay much attention to her son. Anna Yi Pong, she plays Isabella. Isabella is a very kind of like nobody sees her type person. She's been at school for years, but nobody pays attention to her. She's kind of like the invisible kid who gets picked on by like everybody. I forget Isabella's mom's name, but basically she works at like this hospital clinic and stuff like that. One thing I have to give it up to this new series. One thing I'm extremely happy about is like diversity. There is so much diversity in this new series because if you ever heard my review of the old Goosebumps show, you know that it's pretty white. I mean, white, 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 white. And here you have like a half Asian, half white girl. You have a half Puerto Rican, half Asian girl. You have a black dude. You have a black girl. You have like a transgender guy who's technically just playing a guy and a gay guy and everything. Like you have like a lot of different variety than what you had back in the 90s. And so let's get into the first episode, which is Say Cheese and Die. Will Price plays Lucas. He's kind of like the dude like type person, you know what I'm saying? Like he's like, kind of like has that surfer boy attitude. He looks like he's stoned all the time. He's always doing dangerous type sports because he's trying to live up to his father's like memory. His dad was a stunt dude like on motorcycles and skateboards, an extreme type person, and that's how he is. Very dumb character, but a really nice, likable guy. And he really misses his father and all that other stuff. His mom is like, forgot her name, Noah, and she's played by I think Rachel Harris. A lot of the parents you will recognize, like I remember her from Sister when they went to college, and I also remember she was in like Reno 911 and a whole bunch of other stuff. Say Cheese and Die. That's a classic right there. It's when I first saw Ryan Gosling on television. So basically, in this episode, we get introduced to Howard. He's just this like guy who does a lot of sketches in his pad book and or notepad book, and they're really good. But then all of a sudden somebody starts banging at his door and he gets kind of creeped out. He goes outside but nobody is there. When he goes down into the basement, he like trips and falls, and then like the house sets on fire. It kind of like blows up a little bit, and we see this ghostly thing coming up in like the flames. Inside his house, he has a lot of stuff that you will recognize: the cuckoo clock of doom, the haunted mask, the camera, a bunch of worms. And so like the haunted mask is completely different. I don't know what kind of mask you call this, but it's just like a cream colored like mask that does not look anything like the book. And so basically in this episode, we get introduced to all the like characters and everything. And so Mr. Brat took over the house, and he's a really nice guy and everything. And so 20 minutes in, Isaiah decides to have a Halloween party at Mr. Brat's house because he knows the combination lock to it. They get busted and all this other stuff. But before then, him and his friends went inside the house to see, everything about it, and they started touching crap. He sees the old Polaroid camera. Now, the camera in this doesn't look anything like the way in the old TV show. Why? Because the one in the TV show wanted a more futuristic, demonic looking camera. But in the books, it was just a regular, ordinary camera, just like it is here. And so he's happy, he's taking people's pictures, and then he realizes something. Some weird stuff. The pictures aren't coming out the way he took them. They're more like something bad happens and stuff. Well, after the party, Mr. Brat shows up, and then like he said he's gonna call the cops. Everybody scatters, and his girlfriend decides to run in the woods for whatever stupid reason. And so he took her picture earlier, and she sees somebody far away. She don't know who it is. It's Howard the ghost. And so like he like runs up to her, and then something happens, and she's on the ground like petrified looking. And then Isaiah comes in to kind of wake her and everything. Because it's basically, the camera, you take a picture, it shows you doing something bad. So he thinks that's kind of weird. And then all of a sudden the picture goes white after like the events happen, which did not happen in like the book or the television show. And so like then all of a sudden he took a picture of like Margot, and it looks like she's choking or something like that. At school, she thinks she saw somebody, and then somebody ghostly vibe or whatever, made the candy come out. She has a nut allergy. She ate it and didn't realize it had nuts in it. So she's choking, and then Isaiah has to give her the EpiPen. He's realizing something. The events of the pictures are coming true. And then, of course, the picture goes white. He tries to tell her, but she's upset. See, the reason why she's upset is because his girlfriend does not like Margot. She doesn't like how he tells her everything. And Margot doesn't like the idea that he will only talk to her when his girlfriend's not around. So, like, at some point in time, I think his picture, he did not want it to come true. So he destroyed the camera, but the camera came back whole. Then it shows him passed out on the football field. This is what strange happens. When he's on the football field, all of a sudden he sees the ghost boy. But then the ghost boy like sets on fire, and then he has like a very charred looking face, and he makes a bunch of demon looking people chase after Isaiah. Now, this is similar to that of Chiliology. I can't say that. Chiliology. That's it. I had to slow myself down. Chiliology. When one baseball player dude was in Carl's land, and like those demons started chasing him. So they're borrowing from other books and stuff. But here's the thing. Chiliology, I believe, was completely made up. It was never an R.L. Stine book, but it's a nice reference to it nonetheless. He trips, falls, breaks his arm. And so, like, he realized, those pictures are coming true, and there's something wrong with that camera. But none of his friends will believe him. And when he goes to talk to Margot about it, well, basically, she's all like, "Oh, I thought you came here to check on me when I almost died from a nut allergy, but here you are making it all about you." No, he's not. He's just like, talking about this haunted camera. And that's basically what happens with him in that camera. They don't reverse the effects of the camera. They don't like rip it up or nothing like that, which is what happens in like the books. Basically, when you rip it up, whatever bad happens is supposed to be like erased and stuff. And in the second say cheese and die again, it's basically you have to like do the negative of a picture to like reverse like the haunted stuff. Here there's no reversal of anything. It's just kind of like that's it. And that's why the first episode really isn't all like that. Like, the haunted mask. That's the one I was most interested in because that's one of my favorite episodes. And so basically, the haunted mask takes over that of Isabella. Isabella hates the idea of, people not like paying attention to her. And Isaiah's girlfriend is really rude to her. They're always calling her a troll. And people just don't necessarily make fun of her. It's just they walk by and they text people. The text gets to her and she sees people are making fun of her. It's not like how it is in the book or in the television show where she really gets made fun of and bullied and stuff. But just like in the book, she has a little brother. And for every Halloween, she wears the same costume, similar to that of the old like classic book and show. But when she's down in at Brat's house, I think like at the party or something like that, somehow she sees that the haunted mask and it calls out to her for some bizarre reason, which is weird because that never did that in the book. And so she takes it and everything like that. She goes to the Halloween party and she puts on the mask and she decides to wear like a skimpy outfit and act very seductress and everything. And this is something she's never done before. And she's really proud of herself. Like she acted completely wild and crazy and stuff like that. But she had a hard time trying to take the mask off, just like in the book. Only problem is when she took it off, she was smiling. She didn't even stop to think, hey, how come this mask didn't come off my face? You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of takes away from like the storytelling because, you're supposed to freak out like, hey, why this thing ain't coming off? Then the mask has like a smile on his face all of a sudden. But then this is where it really differs. She's at school because Lucas took her drone camera and busted it, and it belongs to her dad, and it's $3,000. The mom is pissed and totally grounds her. And so when she goes to talk to like the counselor and stuff, and Lucas, she's not even wearing a mask. It's in her book bag, but the mask is somehow projecting its anger onto her for some bizarre reason. And so, like, she's acting rude and nasty and saying all kinds of mean stuff, which is what the mask is supposed to make you do, but only when you wear it. But this thing somehow is able to possess her when she's not wearing it. Well, she wants revenge on Lucas. So she decides to put on the mask and wear a hoodie. This is so different. And I think she had like a baseball bat, something like that. This is so, no. She had no baseball bat. When he fell off his skateboard, she took the skateboard and launched it at him. And then she broke it in half because now she has super strength and crap. Anyways, at first I was kind of digging this vibe of like this new mask. It looks different. You're wearing a hoodie. It's a little bit more modern and it's making you do bad stuff. But then all of a sudden, it kind of does what the book in the old show does. All of a sudden, the mask changes shape and morphs into a troll face. Yeah, and I'm like, that didn't happen with the old book in the old show. You're supposed to retain the face you have, that green looking monster face. But then again, the shopkeeper said these used to be beautiful faces, but then the ugliness turned them evil and stuff. But then, so like, she's about to kill Lucas until the others rescue him. Then she goes home where her brother is, and she's completely possessed by the haunted mask. And she tries to kill her brother. And instead of calling 911 like you think he would, he calls her phone and then realize, oh wait, the monster in the house is my sister. So she chases him outside, he hides, and then with some loving words, he's all like, don't hurt me and everything, like I'm your brother, and blah, blah, blah. So then she realized, oh crap, this is my brother and I love him, and she's able to rip off the mask by an act of love. Completely different from that of the book in the old show. In the book in the old show, she started acting a little bit crazy and all this other stuff. She couldn't get it off. And then she realized that thing her mom made her, she really loved that. And it was an act of love, and she was able to rip the mask off. And so, yeah, it's like totally different. So then she takes the mask and she throws it over, like, the bridge. And then they start just cussing over and over and over and over, her and her little brother. Well, while all this is going on, Mr. Brat, who's possessed by Howard the Ghost, is looking for the mask and certain other artifacts and looking for Slappy. Now, Howard the Ghost, he is a boy who died. There's a couple of ghosts in the Goosebumps. There's one from, one is Hannah, and there's a Wraith, and then they try to make that boy a ghost. The Invisible Boy is not a ghost, but he reminds me more of the Invisible Boy and stuff than that of Hannah. The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, which is a very fun episode back in the day, but this new one is crazy and I'm digging it. It's complete retelling. They tried to mash a couple of things together. They mashed the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, whichever that mirror episode was. Remember there's like a mirror and there's a light, you turn the light on and you go into like the mirror universe, and there's like an evil version of you that comes out and everything. And then there are those little gummy bear things. I don't know what they do. I've never read that book, but they was in the second movie. I don't know what they supposed to do, but in the thing, when you go splat, you smell like Jolly Ranchers. So I'm assuming that's the gummy bear thing. I don't know. I'm just like assuming. So in a way, this is a James episode. And so when he was like checking the house out, he bumped into the cuckoo clock. So then he must have messed with something in it. And so when he went to the party and everything, he tried to get this guy named Sam to like him, but Sam brought up sports. And so James don't know nothing about sports. So he completely screwed that up. So then, he decided to just go home. And when he tried to leave the house, the moment he went outside, like there's a duplicate of him that walked off, and then he kind of fell back into the house and it reset time, kind of like Groundhog's Day. So it's a Groundhog Day type episode. He's gonna keep redoing the events over and over and over again, and this time he's gonna score with Sam by like finding out what sports he likes, looking them up, and finding a bunch of information. After making out with Sam and everything, he later fixes the cuckoo clock and everything, and now he's able to leave. Only problem is, the huge twist is when he got home, he's introduced to like at least a dozen different James. And they're all like, yeah, every time you went through that time loop and everything, it created a duplicate of yourself. And he's all like, that's not how time travel works. So they take him and throw him down in like a mine shaft and everything. And so he's there for at least probably like 3 days or something. His evil clones are doing bad stuff around school. They're making his life miserable. They screw things up with Sam. They cause Isaiah's girlfriend to doubt him and think he likes, like, Margot, which he does, and a whole bunch of like other stuff. And so when the parents all had to meet up, well, Isabella mom took her with her. And so she's hanging out with James playing pool, but she hit the ball too hard and it hit him in the head and he went splat. And this is from the trailer. So I'm like, oh, so that explains it and stuff. The parents don't believe her. And then when one of the evil James is talking to the group of friends and everything, she runs up with him with a baseball bat and just whacks him with it. And then she tells them like what's going on. So now she's added to this group. Because now, like, Margot believes them and everything after they didn't believe the whole camera crap. It's just funny how she believes him all of a sudden. So anyway, so they have to find the real James. So they follow one of the evil ones. And he's all like, yep, I led you to a trap. And then there's tons of them. So then he takes Isaiah and throws him down in the pit. Doesn't throw the girls down there for some reason. So Isaiah and the real James, they argue. He's all like, dude, you're my best friend, blah, 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 blah. And like, you couldn't even recognize that was an evil clone. He's all like, maybe because you don't always act like yourself and you always act different around other people and stuff. Like talking about the whole Sam thing. So after they argue a little bit, the girls bust them out by busting through the bricks. How the heck did they do that? They didn't even explain it. The girls just like kick the bricks down and the boulders down, and they're able to get through them. So then it's a big chase. And the boys get separated again. This is when we get this huge action fight scene, which was actually pretty cool. They make all the heads go splat on the fake James. One James actually survived, and he went and found a chest, like a treasure chest and everything. And so when Howard opened it up, there's nothing inside it. He's pissed and he kills the fake James. He's looking for Slappy. So then the old cuckoo clock of doom, basically with that, this boy hates his sister. She's so mean to him. He had a terrible birthday years ago, and then he had another one this year. And when he messes up the cuckoo clock, he's going to blame it on his sister, only to realize he keeps going backwards in time to where he's that of a baby and stuff. And he has to fix it in order to reset time. But when he does, he knocks off the year his sister was born. And Go Eat Worms, we get a Lucas episode. And it's basically what you think. It's Go Eat Worms. However, it's nothing like the television series or books, completely redone again. And so basically, Lucas, he sees his mom making out with Margot's dad. This upsets him because his dad died just a couple of months ago. Not years, months. No. I'm thinking of Sarah. My bad. I'll get to her later. But yeah, his dad died years ago. That's why he does all these like death-defying stunts. He's trying to live up to his dad's memory. So when he confronts his mom about this, she denies, like, oh, I did something different this morning. And even though she slept with, like, what's his name, dad. So he shows Margot and everything, and she's upset because Margot called her mom and asked about this freaky stuff that's going on. And Margot's mom, Sarah, said, you can't trust the other adults and all this other stuff, and I'm coming. And so, like, she knows now she can't even trust her dad because the dad, is making out with another woman when he's supposed to be separated from his wife. So basically, when he's hanging out with Margot, he wants to show her, like, oh, look at me, I'm about to eat a worm, pretending to, but it actually falls out his fingers and down in his throat. These worms are evil worms from down in Howard's basement. And so at night, a bunch of worms crawled up his nose and his ears and his mouth. And the next morning when he's at school, he realizes something. He doesn't feel pain. If he stubs his toe, he doesn't feel it. If he breaks his fingers, he doesn't feel it. So he starts to do all this death-defying stuff. And he shows Margot. But then it's like, the worms take over his mind and he's acting kind of crazy. And he went where his dad died at. When she goes to tell his mom, like, his mom finally tells him the truth of how the dad died. He didn't die by mistake. He took his own life. And this really upsets that of Lucas to the point where he throws up all the worms. Well, they decided to live up to the old book and everything and create a giant worm. However, I gotta tell you right here, right now, in the old book, In the television series, or actually the old television series, that prosthetic giant worm robotic thing looked a heck of a lot more real than whatever the heck they had here. Basically, all the worms combined, and it's kind of like this octopus worm looking thing, and it's totally stupid, but it can move really fast. So we get this giant chase sequence. He's on his dirt bike, they're in the car, they go to this factory, they turn on the saw, and all the worms get like chopped up. When the cops show up, the mom's all like, screw, I'm just gonna tell the truth. Well, they think she's crazy and put her in the crazy house. And that of Isabella, the mom, is the one who helped have her committed, because Isabella's mom doesn't want nobody to know the truth of what the kids did to Howard. And basically, in the old Worm episode, it's just this boy who's obsessed with Worm, doing a project on them, collecting a bunch, and then there's like a giant one, and all this other crap, and then he decides to do his project on fish, and then the fish kind of like bring him into the water and all that crazy stuff. The fifth episode, Readers Beware. That is not based on an R.L. Stein book, I believe. That's actually a YouTube channel where these group of people talk about the Goosebump books. So that's really interesting. This is a Margot episode and everything, and it's also a parents episode. So basically, Howard wants everybody to know the truth. And so he gives Margot this scrapbook that belonged to him and said belonged to her mom. So now Lucas is living with Colin and Margot, and the mom shows up, Sarah, all of a sudden. She doesn't know that he's having an affair. And so she doesn't want to talk about all this scary stuff, with her daughter. So Howard's pissed, and it's kind of like he wants them to know. So Howard puts one step forward, and so he gives Margot the scrapbook whenever she's in a room, that a page that's drawn on, say somebody drew the auditorium, and you have to go to the auditorium, then you see what happened, and she sees what happens. She sees that her mom Sarah is a huge flirt, flirting with Ben, Isaiah's father, and flirting with that of Howard. Then all of a sudden they had an argument, and he said he thinks somebody's after him. She doesn't want to hear it. Then we see the events of when he died in the fire. Now, when he died in the fire, that's very similar to R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour dead body. Getting bullied and then died in the fire. So basically what happened was all the parents, when they was younger, they dressed up in a bunch of hoodies and they were the one banging on the door. When he went outside to go investigate, they snuck in the house. When he went down the basement, he tripped and fell down in the basement. And then the house set on fire, and the young parents at that time, they ran out. The house kind of exploded a little bit, and he died. This is where it gets interesting. The parents come out with the chest that has Slappy in it, because the parents know Howard wants Slappy back, but we don't know why. Why does he want Slappy, and why did the parents have to hide Slappy? So Sarah took Slappy. No, it's either Sarah or Nora, because they found the eyeball at Nora's place. So either Nora or Sarah has it. And they took Slappy and everything. And then they're all well, shouldn't we check on him to see if he's dead? But one of the parents no. We need to hurry up and leave before we get caught and everything. So they literally let him die in that fire. When the kids are all why did they let him die and everything? Then comes out Mr. Bratt as Howard, all oh, you want to know? Come inside and I'll tell you. And then it ends. And we won't know what happened until next week. And so there's a huge mystery going on as to what the heck happened. Why do they want Slappy? Why did Howard have Slappy? Is Howard evil or something like that? Are the parents evil? We won't know, because that's going to be the huge twist upon the twist and everything. So I have to say, it's not a terrible series. And, I am very intrigued by it. It's not as cool as the old Goosebumps show, but it's not entirely terrible. Once you get past all the teen drama crap, once they get to the Goosebumps stuff, that starts to become very, very interesting. Sometimes it's an improvement over the old one, and other times it's just kind of bland and everything. So it's kind of like, 50-50. Like, you base this series on. Like, it's like I said before, it ain't perfect, but it's not terrible and stuff. It's modernized in a way that's kind of satisfying a little bit. It would be nice if they had better music. It would be nice if they had an intro, and it would be nice if they had less teen drama crap. But I am very, very intrigued. And so, like, Colin went to, like, the psych ward to go see that of Nora. And then that's when Sarah found out they had that affair. And so she's pissed, but she tells Nora that the others want you to be crazy so you don't rat them out. And she tells her you have to stop taking your medicine and start talking normal and everything so they will let you out. So then she starts doing the whole put the pills under her tongue type thing. And, she's going to have a hard time trying to convince them because they want to keep her locked up. So this is a really interesting series and stuff. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.